Last night was the 21st of December, which makes it the longest night of the year. Here in the UK, that means we have more darkness than daylight at this time of year. And it's easy to forget that there is daylight sometimes, because you get up and it's dark, you go to work and it's dark, you come home and it's dark, and when there is a little bit of sunlight, it's generally hidden by some gloomy clouds. It's dark. Sometimes life can feel like that. Like I said, it's the 21st of December. Yesterday, today's the 22nd, I can't count. And that means it's really close to Christmas. And even though it's really close to Christmas, we feel like we're living in dark days. And the darkness seems to just carry on. It seems like we're in a really dark night. There's a pandemic that seems to never end, and when it does, a cost of living crisis happens. Darkness. Have you ever found yourself in times like that, when things are really dark and perhaps you're depressed and not feeling awfully Christmassy? Have you ever found yourself asking, what if? What if it wasn't like this? What if things were different? What if I had done something different? What if the government had done something different? What if? What if's a question we all ask, and we especially ask when things are dark and we're struggling. But what if's another question that we ask when we don't understand what God is doing, when we don't understand God's story and how it plays out in our lives. What if? That makes me think though, because actually if you think about it, there's lots of things about the Christmas story, or in fact the whole story of Jesus, that we just don't know. There's lots of what ifs in that story. Yes, we understand the whole story as it lays itself out, and we understand what the story is about. But as you look at the characters, as you look at the people who are in that story, along the way, inevitably I find myself asking, what if? What if that person had acted differently? What if they had done things differently? And I'm not talking about the bad people or the good people. I'm just talking about people in general. What if? What if Herod had had a softer heart? What if Mary had said no? What if Joseph couldn't have cared less about Mary? What if? What if people had done things differently in the Jesus story? I like to ask myself those what ifs, because it puts me in the position of those characters. And that helps me to understand them, and therefore that, I think, helps me to understand God and the story as a whole even better. It brings me closer to God when I understand the way people acted in response to the story around them. And it helps me to see the bigger picture of the story of Jesus. So we're going to explore a what if right now. A story based on the story. A story within the story, reading between the lines. Something that hopefully helps us to see the bigger picture. Because right now, in the darkness, actually it's good for us to see the bigger picture, to take a step back. And in order for us to take a step back and see the bigger picture, sometimes we need to zoom in on something that maybe we hadn't thought about before. So this is my what if. You could call it a Christmas what if, but I think it's a what if in terms of the whole story of Jesus. What if? The old shepherd climbed the hill. Like so many hills he had climbed so many times in his life before. But as the years went by, it became harder and harder for him to climb these hills. And as he struggled his way up this hill, he was looking left and right, not just struggling with the incline, but struggling to find something. his lost lamb. As he reached the summit of the hill, he stopped for a moment to catch his breath. And that's when he saw her, the woman. I know you. The words just popped out of his mouth. It surprised him how quickly they came out of his mouth. He wasn't usually this forward with people. I know you. You're her. You're the one we saw so many years ago, the one in the stable with the baby. She nodded yes, but she never looked at him. She kept her eye on her lamb hanging in the air. What about your baby? What happened about your baby? He said, and as he did, he followed her gaze to her lamb in the air. Is that him? Is that your son? She nodded. Yes. The old man was even more confused than he had been before. But the angel was so certain. He said, your son was the Savior, the Messiah, the Lord himself. That's the only reason my companions and I rushed so quickly to find you, led by my son with his own little lamb. That's the only reason we came so quickly, because of what the angel said. But if that's him, then the angel... No, said the woman. The angel was not wrong. God was at work then, and he's at work now. He must be at work. I believe it. I must. But how? How? Said the old man. How? When faced with this kind of darkness, how? Shh, she whispered. He's trying to speak. They looked up. The man in the air. Today, he said to the man hanging next to him. Today, you'll be with me in paradise. Do you see? She said with tears in her eyes. Do you see? Even now, even here, the angel's words ring true. Who else could make a promise like that? Who else would even care? The old man stood staring. And as if to make a decision, he said, I must go. I found what I was looking for. And he turned to leave. But wait, said the woman. Wait, you haven't told me about your son. The little boy with the lamb. How is he? Well, I suppose you could say he fell in with the wrong crowd and he wandered away. I'm so sorry. That's heartbreaking. But do you know where he is now? Now, said the old man, looking up in the sky. Now he's on his way to paradise. You see, the angel was right after all. And with that, he turned and he went back down the hill like he had done so many times before. John's Gospel records these words of Jesus. This is how much God loved the world. He gave his Son, his one and only Son. And this is why. So that no one need to be destroyed. By believing in him, anyone can have a whole and lasting life. God didn't go to all that trouble of sending his Son merely to point an accusing finger, telling the world how bad it was. No. He came to help, to put the world right again. The thing I love about the 22nd of December is that no matter how dark it is, scientifically speaking, geographically speaking, I guess they're both sciences, every day is getting longer. There is more light every day. So no matter how much darkness you're facing right now, the angels were right. God has loved the world and sent his Son so that he could put the world right